the weather is getting a little warmer. We had our first stint of summer. Now we seem to be taking a little bit of a hiatus this week, but I'm sure it'll be back. Although maybe not to the tune of those 90-degree days. But when it gets hot, again, you guys don't just deal with plumbing. You guys deal with a lot of heating and air conditioning and things of that nature, which, of course, not a lot of people know, I wouldn't think.
Well, I hope that people understand that we do heating and air conditioning. But for those who don't, yes, we have a department set up that can handle all the heating and air conditioning needs. The summer's been beautiful, but it really hasn't been that hot, so we haven't really had that much in the area of HVAC type calls. But there's going to always be people that are going to try to turn the air conditioner on, commercial and residential, and the air's not cold, and they need to get it out, and you get it serviced right away. We do a lot of emergency commercial work where we have to get to restaurants or places that need to have.
I would imagine.
Yeah. We just finished up. There was a pizza place that suddenly had a major problem, and they weren't very pleased with the fact that the restaurant was about as hot as their ovens.
Oh.
So those are kind of things that we can get out and we can fix for people.
Now, when it gets really hot, everybody calls, right?
Correct.
I mean, is that kind of how it works? Nobody like forecasts that, it's summer's coming up, so I'll get my air conditioner serviced.
Right.
Is that kind of the same for, hey, it's hot now, so nobody's thinking about their furnace?
Exactly. And now's the time to start thinking about your furnace, because we're only a few months away from when people are going to be using their furnace. And if you have it furnace, if your furnace is serviced and it's checked out and inspected and you know it's operating just fine now, then you have the comfort knowing that when you need it in this fall, you're not going to have any issues. A lot of people, unfortunately, wait until they turn their furnace back on, and they may, I was having some problems and experiencing this, that, or the other, and then we're in the middle of the cold season and their furnace has gone out, or they've got to face a major repair. And my advice to people out there now is you're not going to be backed up with service calls and people saying, I can't get out there. You're going to have to wait and just do a preventive maintenance now and have someone from Beacon come out and take a look at that furnace, have it checked out, and make sure that the filters, it's clean, all the parts are running like it should, cycle it through the heating cycle a few times, make sure that it's operating just fine. And then when the cold weather comes, you're not going to be sitting there on a cold morning going, my God, left in the cold. I need someone out here. Please get out here as soon as possible.
And you and your neighbor and everybody else in your neighborhood has the same problem at the same time.
Exactly. It's just, it's freezing pipes is the same kind of phenomenon. People don't have control typically over the freezing pipes, but something like your furnace, it's just not that expensive to get serviced and checked out now. And it'll
save you money sometime in the long run, doesn't it? It makes it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah. And there are do-it-yourselfers out there that, can do some things on them, and it's, if they understand the problem exists now, then they may have time to get it done before the cold weather starts. But again, like we talked about in the earlier segment about doing yourself, it's sometimes better not to try and do those things yourself.
Break it. I don't know anybody who's tried to do something themselves that it hasn't taken 3 or 4 times. I mean, I tried to put together an IKEA chair with like 28 screws, and undoubtedly by the end of it, I got one thing aiming the wrong way, and I'm back, and it's through. And I mean, that's a put together IKEA chair. Now, I will admit I am the least technical or hands-on person. I have an entire show about don't do things by yourself. Right. But it is interesting when I hear just people who are going, yeah, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, here's my project. My project is to fix my heater for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, wow, like, A, that's, noble, I guess. Good luck.
Right.
And B, like, why are you trying to fix your own heater?
Well, and C, I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, D, it's going to be...
And you go there the next day, it's like duct tape.
Yeah.
And, you always end up with like a missing screw.
Right.
And
I've got too many pieces left over now. I thought I should use them all up, but there's still screws and parts on the floor.
I don't think I started with any screws, and I have 4, so I'm a little bit confused. Then you just start looking around for holes you can put them in.
Sure. So it goes back to the know your limits, like we talked about in the last show, or the last segment of let someone who knows what they're doing take care of it, and just sort of step back and let them warrant their work for the time period. Our warranty is good for a year, parts and labor on things that we work on.
Well, and as you said, there's a lot of value in the knowledge.
Exactly. It's sometimes people will be a little dismayed at the cost, but relative to the time it takes or seemingly the amount of effort put into it, but that's typically a function of someone who knows what they're doing and knows how to do it quickly and efficiently. And
which people tend to forget. People tend to think that value is always based in time.
Yeah.
Until you go to an attorney.
Exactly. Or even when you get a flat rate price like our company, people go, well, gosh, I knew the price up front. I knew what it's going to cost to get the result, but it still didn't seem like you put a lot of time into it.
You should have hung out underneath the house a little bit longer.
Well, and that's what you get to is that the bottom line, when for most people, they don't want to have the job dragged out. They don't want to have the work prolonged because that means they can't get to using their house or their toilets or their furnace or their water sooner. And people want it done sooner rather than later. You don't want someone to ever speed up and do the job improperly. But if you're paying for knowledge and efficiency and you're getting a warranty behind that, then it's sort of like you can't have it both ways.
One of my favorite quotes is you can have it fast, you can have it good, or you can have it cheap, but you only get to pick two.
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of, when we have, like our techs are, very experienced, very knowledgeable guys, then they can get tasks done very quickly sometimes.